We talk about our WyoPreps game of the week, and it's one of a few around the state that is a win and you're in, lose and your season's done situation. We take you to Class 2A with the Torrington Trailblazers, visiting the Newcastle Dogies and visiting with Torrington head coach Russell Stienmetz. And coach, first of all, thanks so much for a few minutes of your time this week. I guess, how do you feel about your team as you get ready for this big game here in week 8?
Just very excited for the opportunity to play on Friday night. And, we're battled some injuries earlier on, and it seems like we're getting healthier as the season, goes into the later part of the season. So just excited to get the kids healthy, get them playing up to their potential.
Was the health kind of the reason behind a little bit of the slow start? I know you played some good teams at the start as well, so I won't take that away. But was that maybe more of a contributing factor than people realized?
We had some, key injuries, but the next man up needs to step up and fill in. And we were able to scrape past Burns, and then we slide a couple, like 3 in a row. So yeah, it was a tough skid there for a while, but just excited to have one more opportunity and get out there on Friday.
We'll talk about the pressure that comes with this situation. How are you trying to take that off your players so they can just go out and kind of relax and play football and have some fun Friday?
Yeah, absolutely. Just let them know their assignment and let them react to it. I mean, they all know that it's a big deal, win and keep playing as it should be. I mean, if you lose, you should be done. So, this time of the season, important for everybody. I mean, every game should matter, and I'm glad this one matters too.
Is this almost a basically pre-playoff game, I guess, for lack of a better phrase?
Yeah, that's a good phrase. I've never really thought of it that way. I just one quarter at a time, and then one half at a time, and then the game will take care of itself.
Talk about your team and what have you seen from guys? Bryce Hager kind of leads you there at quarterback, and it looks like he's kind of one of your leaders on defense at the same time. You put the ball in his hands every play because he's either going to hand it off or look to throw it. What are you seeing in his development this year?
Yeah, so I mean, he's the one that's been battling injuries. So he's getting back into the groove of it. If you have a quarterback that runs a whole bunch, you don't want to run him a whole bunch at the beginning of the season. So therefore, you do have him throughout the longevity of the season. And so we're able to kind of keep him healthy. Yeah, he's a gamer for sure when he gets the ball. I mean, he's such a determined runner, and then on defensively, he just flies around. He's got a great motor. Anchored inside by some linemen that have several starts under their belts, and a running back that can run, receivers that can catch. So just got to keep playing.
Outside of Bryce, who's kind of maybe raised their level of play, especially in the last few weeks, to kind of put you in this good spot here?
Yeah, so we have Brendan Flock as a receiver and a DB for us. Teams are really blanketing him, and so as teams are starting to blanket him, Juan Stevens, another senior receiver, DB, he stepped up, and I mean, he had a couple of huge games defensively for us with interceptions. So just excited to see if they're going to shut one kid down, another kid rise up. So just exciting there.
Talk about Newcastle. What do you see out of Coach Conzelman's bunch there?
Yeah, Coach Collins get those kids playing hard. He does year after year. I'm not very good with names. I just watch a lot of film and numbers, but number 30 runs the ball hard, fast, very aggressive runner. QB number 1, he can throw it, he can run it. I think he actually has the most rushes on their team. And then, number 7, he's quality running back / receiver, wing type. Several weapons there also. And if you're going to sell out to stop the run or over pursue, they're going to cut it back and find open receivers. So, disciplined team, they're aggressive. I know Coach Collins will have those boys ready.
Well, do they cause you guys any sort of issues, or do you see this as a pretty even matchup? I mean, statistically, Russell, you guys are pretty even in offense, defense. I think one of you has a slight edge in rushing versus passing and kind of the same on the defensive side, but this looks to be a really similar matchup.
Yeah, we're very similar teams. Here lately, we've both decided run the ball a lot more. They'll do direct snaps to number 7, number 30, number 1, all those boys. And so, I see a lot of similarities in our teams for sure. Just excited to get out there on Friday and give it a whirl.
The tough part for your bunch is you guys got to get on the road does that play a factor in anything that you guys are doing preparation wise this week?
No, not really. I mean, we like this road trip a heck of a lot better than going all the way up to Sheridan County back-to-back weeks. So this is going to just seem like a little tiny jaunt for us. So just excited.
Yeah, you just have to go west a little bit and then north a little bit, I guess, huh? What are some of the biggest keys and things you're stressing to your team this week in practice to get you ready so that you guys can try and get a win here to get to the playoffs next week?
Yeah, just talked a lot about being disciplined, do your job. I mean, we have a motto, do your job. And so just being disciplined, do your job. So therefore, if they do come up throwing it, we do have our guys to cover. If your job's to hit whatever aiming point it might be and then pursue, then that's what we need to do. So just a lot of do your job, be disciplined, have good eyes, and give maximum effort.
Russell, thank you so much for your time and best of luck in Newcastle Friday.
Perfect. Thank you.
We continue the conversation with one of our WyoPreps games of the week. It's from Class 2A. It's one of those win and you're in, lose and you're out situations. And it is Torrington at Newcastle visiting with Doggies head coach Matt Conzelman. And Matt, good to see you again. I got to ask you, how do you feel about your team coming into kind of this pressure-packed situation where it's win or go home time?
Well, we've already started watching a lot of film on Torrington and different things like that. And I think a lot of the ways, throughout the season, they're kind of in the same boat that we were just going through the season. Started out pretty slow and then started getting it going a little bit. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a very equal matchup for us. And so, we kind of talked before we got on air about, the playoffs start this week for us. So, I mean, that's kind of, take care of business and bring your A game.
How do you think your group deals with this type of pressure? I mean, do you got guys that are stepping up, saying the right things so far? Whether it was after last week's game or this week in practice already?
Well, with a playoff game like this, we just have the seniors. It's senior night for us. It's the last time they're going to play on Schoonmaker Field, and so we've been talking about just how you play with urgency, right? And just leaving everything on the field. And I think these guys have done a great job the last few weeks of just putting it all together. The leaders have really started to speak up and so just that drive and determination. I mean, when it comes down to it.
You've had a nice little 1-2 punch between McConkey and Perino, but have you seen other guys that have kind of stepped up here in the last few weeks?
Yeah, you got a lot of guys. The Stallhammer kid has really stepped up, I thought, in a lot of different areas, defensively and offensively for us. Vanderpool Mobley and Skylar Cummings out on the perimeter has helped us get our passing game started. And so I think a lot of things like that has just really helped it out and just putting it all together.
What do you look at when you see Coach Stienmetz ball club? Because when I look at the stats, you guys are pretty even, whether it's rushing. I think you have a little lead. They have a little lead in passing. You guys are pretty close in defense. So what do you see? Is it something really similar to your team?
I think, very similar in a lot of ways. I know Coach Steinmetz is going to have the Blazers ready to go, and we're going to see their A game. And so we got to make sure that we do the same. Don't get away from all the stuff that we've been doing this year, and just attack where we need to attack. You got the Hager kid that's at quarterback, that he's kind of the nucleus of that thing, but a very good athlete. The Packard kid at running back just runs hard. And then you got number 70. I mean, the Bennett kid on defense, that he's our overall defensive leader. And so you got to know where he's at all the time. And I thought defensively, they really just flow hard and they're physical and big up front. And so you just got to execute where we need to execute.
Talk a little bit about, what are you stressing this week to the kids in practice to maybe let them know that, Matt, this is just another game. While there is pressure, you want them to kind of relax and perform like it's just, another game. How do you go about that this week?
Well, it's, we've talked about that throughout the season as far as me getting, if it is to be, it's up to me realistically, and so I have to make sure that I'm mentally ready to go in that game. I said, we're going to have you prepared. It's just the fact that you got to go out there and you got to make sure that you can execute that. And so you can't be too high and you can't be too low. You just want to stay an even kill out there. And so they know what's on the line here. And, I'm expecting them guys to step up and bring their A game.
Good news is I guess you're at home. That's got to be a benefit, right? You don't have to travel, get on the old bus and go anywhere.
Oh, big time. It's fun playing at our place. I was talking with the players the other night about just how I can go back to my high school field and walk around it and just have a lot of those memories of playing and different games and stuff. And so, we just want to go out there and give your best and execute. And, the last few weeks, what we've been really stressing is offense. We need to be a little bit more efficient with our offense. Way too many penalties down in Glen Rock. And so those are just drive killers. And so we got to make sure that we're taking care of that. And then just getting first downs, and hopefully first downs end up in touchdowns. And defensively, I thought, with that Glen Rock team, they're just a physical ball squad right now and kind of getting back into their old roots a little bit. And so I thought our team did a really good job of just trying to match that physicalness and being more physical than them. And so, don't be out hit, don't be out hustled is going to be the Friday night theme. And so flying around, making plays.
Matt, thank you so much for your time. Wish you the best luck at home against the Blazers on Friday.
Hey, thanks for having me on, David.